4, 3, 2. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wastrel Wednesday edition of the Crazy Gibberish. I am your handsome, hirsute host, Bill Sylvie, and of course, I have my absolutely awesome Australian co-host, Kyle Schuant, coming to us live from the land down under. Kyle, how the hell have you been, man? It's been way too long. Way too long, brother. Lockdown number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, shit, I got to be careful about that. Did you know, I was actually considering doing some things with Twitch. First of all, I'm not, because Twitch is Sodom and Gomorrah. And the other reason, no, I'm serious. Like, I can't say some of the things I've seen on Twitch, or YouTube will kick us off. But there was some Twitch streamer, like a popular one, who was humming a song like I just did with that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing. And the contextless AI that drives their content Overwatch, the Panopticon, said, "You're playing copyrighted music." Shut down his stream, deleted his channel, and blocked him on Twitch. Just in midstream, he was just humming the theme to some video game, and it sounded enough like a recording to the Twitch bot to... Yeah. Uh-oh. Some let me see here. Had an audio complaint there. Adam, is that better? Can you hear Kyle? Sorry about that.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. We'll give that a second to cook in.
You should be able to hear me, mate.
What? Yeah, Robert's saying the same thing. So, I mean, hey, what would this show be without technical problems, right? You know, when I was a kid, I used to dream of owning my own TV station and being able to put whatever I wanted on TV, and I kind of got that now, but warts and all, so yay. All right, Adam says he can hear you, and I would guess that Robert probably can too now. Good. Since I turned the pot there. That's the international sign for turning the volume knob up, is that. Anyway, so Kyle, yeah. I got to ask you the question.
I don't think it's good to let AI do things like spot sound and all the rest. One of my gamer and gym friends, Pat, his workplace has an ally bot that interrupts their chat. Like when he said he was staying at his mum's, and it said, "Some members of your team may be upset at the word mums. You should try a more inclusive term like parents."
Oh, God.
And when they were talking about all the billionaires going into space, and he said, chances are that, Elon Musk is going to set up a moon base. And it interrupted to say, "Be careful about the word he. Some may offend some members of your team. Try they, theirs, or them instead." And it has a little heart emoji at the end. And he kept sending me this, and I said, "Can you not turn it off?" And he went, "Oh, yeah, I'll check." I can. So I love that, like an IT guy, he's been in that job 3 months or something. It hasn't occurred to him to see if he could turn the ally bot off.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That would definitely be in use on RPGNet.
Yeah, no kidding. I saw one on Facebook, and now I've said before, and this is the absolute truth, I don't interact on Facebook. I have to log into Facebook, and I have to post up the links so our Facebook audience can watch. Also, because I know there's some people on Facebook who feel exactly the same way about Google that I feel about Facebook, and rightly so. Rightly so. I'm not over here like, no, YouTube is awesome and it's the best thing ever. No, don't. It's easy and it has the most exposure. If it was BitChute tomorrow, Kyle and I would be over on BitChute. But right, it's YouTube. So, I'm doom scrolling. I'm just like, let's see what these idiots have to say. And I'm doom scrolling. And a guy posted a snippet from, I don't know what the source was. I've tried to find it again, but I can't. If you're out there and you're listening and you are the person who posted this, please post it again or post the source because it's hilarious. But a guy posted up a snippet from his phone chat where he was talking about having gotten a Windows 10 update, and he was talking to the Microsoft helper bot. And there are two levels of failure, of software failure on a Windows machine. There's the blue screen, which once upon a time, the blue screen used to put up a lot of useful information. Like you could write down the codes and then Google them and it would tell you exactly what was going on. Now it's just does the frowny face and, it gives you a QR code you can take a picture of and whatever. But the more serious one, and that usually comes in with Windows updates, is the black screen of death. It bricks your system's boot process. So this guy typed in, I'm having problems, yada, yada, yada. And the only thing that I can think tripped the bot was he said, crashes to a black screen. And the response from the Microsoft bot was, this is a professional service, just like scolds him and then says, you may contact us again when you are ready to proceed forward, basically, and behave yourself, and terminates whoever it was chat. It literally like nuked his chat because it had the word black in it. Now, let me tell you something. I am absolutely not saying that, racism is funny and we shouldn't do anything about it. I'm saying AI is funny and it shouldn't be standing in for human decisions.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the old thing, like a lot of government workplaces. Occasionally I've known people and you send them an email and it's got some profanity in it and it just bounces the email. The person can't even look at the email.
Yeah.
It bounces it back again. You have to go back and edit it. I don't think it's the role of software. I think it's quite legitimate to say that some workplaces shouldn't have profanity. I think it's quite legitimate to talk about how we use language to include or exclude people. I think that's quite legitimate.
Absolutely.
But I don't think it's the job of a fucking bot to do it. Fuck off.
I mean, and
we want people, not machine.
I know I've told you this story in private. I can't remember if we've done it on stream, but the University of Scunthorpe in the UK, when they first got email, they wanted to do that. And so their first attempt at an AI was literally just to put in a word filter that they stuck George Carlin's 7 words you can't say on television, plus a lot more into it, and said, filter anything that comes out. And the second they turned it on, their entire email system failed because Scunthorpe is spelled SCUNTHORPE. The word, I apologize if this gets us booted off YouTube and Facebook, Kyle. The word cunt was detected by their filter. No email in, no email out, nobody opening any previous emails because it had a dirty word in it.
AI is dumb.
AI is dumb. I'm sorry, I can't.
I had a gamer friend years ago who had to spend a lot of time at his workplace fixing up a mistake. One of the contractors had set up a filter to forward his work emails to his home email and forward his home emails to his work email. And it just became recursive.
That's, oh my God.
And then it quickly filled the entire server just with his emails.
Yeah. IT is funny. I think you would have done well in IT, Kyle, just because of your no-nonsense attitude, to be honest. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't do it anymore because it's not fun. IT stopped being fun sometime in the early 2000s, and it has nothing to do with political correctness or anything. It's just, I don't know. I think it's when cloud computing rolled along, and you couldn't stroll up to somebody's desk, ask them to go get a cup of coffee for themselves, or, rearrange their family photos on the other side of the desk, when you could roll up your sleeves and really screw around with the computer in a positive way and get things working in. And now it's like, you're either a janitor or you're bringing somebody an ultra slim micro desktop unit, what they, just like a machine that's this big, because everything's in the cloud. It's like, my PC keeps crashing. All right, I'll be right over. You write another asset tag, stick it on the new machine, go over, plug it in, hit a button, sync everything on the cloud, and walk away. And there's no sense of understanding what's actually wrong. You just throw the thing in a box and send it back to HP.
I wonder if it might not return to more in-house stuff, because the thing about the cloud is, if you can say the wrong thing and be kicked off a chatbot, say the wrong thing and be kicked off social media, and then all the other social media kick you off out of solidarity or something, at some point, someone in a company somewhere is going to say something wrong, and their cloud service will be revoked.
Yeah.
And if that happens to a big enough company, that large company is going to say, well, screw it, we'll just make our own. So, it might return to more in-house stuff, I think, at some point.
I would love to see it. I would love to see things revert back. I mean, frankly, you talk about an AI making a decision on, on Discord or on YouTube or on Facebook, and then telling other AIs about that. I guess they have an AI poker night or something where they take 10 nanoseconds to kick their digital feedback, light a cigar, drink a little bit of scotch, and talk about all the shitlords that they had to ban. But the people who say that that's okay, out of the other side of their mouth will say that nothing like China's social credit score system could come to the West ever. Oh, you're just being paranoid. In fact, you're being so paranoid, you're spreading false information, and I'm going to get you banned off of Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Discord for spreading false information, saying that there is some kind of leveraged conspiracy against your point of view.
Yeah, well, but I mean, people will adapt. People will adapt. It's that's happened around the world with protesters, for example. That when the okay, so it's hard to remember, but there used to be a day when social media was where protesters organised themselves, and social media companies were quite happy to help out in the colour revolutions and in the Arab Spring and all the rest, and they thought that was a good thing, that people were working to liberate themselves. I know it has turned around in the last year or two, but yeah, there was that time. But when people kicked off, they go onto other services and they have other ways of communicating and they adapt. We saw it with the anti-lockdown protesters and with the Hong Kong protesters as well. That they'd organise themselves. We're going to protest at this point and this time, and the police intercepted that, or part of the groups. So then the police were there to stop them showing up in the first place. So then they migrate to another service, and then they surprise the police, and then the police get onto that service. So then they migrate onto a third service. Yeah, and then they do things like, well, we're not going to decide the place of protest until half an hour before. So there'll be fewer people, but the people won't get arrested. They did that here in Melbourne, where they decided to have a flash mob kind of protest at Chadstone Shopping Centre, and only about 50 showed up. But I mean, that's what you do when you have 15 minutes notice. True. And so they all showed up, and the police all went out, like 60 cops went, and by the time the cops arrived, they'd all pissed off. They'd all gone away.
Well, that does give some hope. That does give some hope.
I think I think people will adapt. They figure out their way. They figure their way around things. They do it in communist China. They can certainly do it here. And, of course, the other way you get around things is just to go back to the good old books.
That's right,
Books
man.
and handwriting, because they can delete your PDFs, especially if you've got a Kindle. They can delete them remotely and that, but they have to actually burglarize your house to be able to take your books off.
Yeah. Then you start getting into Fahrenheit 451 territory, which I'm not going to tempt Lady Fate and say, but that'll never happen, because yeah.
So I was just before the session, I was because the guys were looking at conflict today, so I was looking at older versions. So there's Donald Featherston's Skirmish Wargaming, and that's first printed in 1975. I don't know how much this guy knew about the existence of D&D or anything like that, but it was similar ideas, like his scenarios. He's got these different scenarios, Vikings and Saxons, and what else is in there? English Civil War cavalry action, the Jolly Roger, First World War trench raid, that sort of thing. But just one of the first ones, the Vikings scenario.
Okay.
And cast, the Viking Raiders. All the Vikings carried heavy round wooden shields. Rolf, a veteran, weapon, one-handed broadsword. Category 6. Bjorn, a novice, weapon, one-handed broadsword. Guthrum, veteran, weapons, short throwing hammer, short one-handed axe, and broadsword, and so on. So it's skirmish wargaming. So it's rather than having, this is second platoon of Alpha Company or something, you have individual characters going around. And I'm absolutely sure that when people did it, they were with miniatures, of course.
Of course. Of course.
The Vikings realize they're not alone on the beach and sound their horn for battle. And he's telling stories about it. A longship Raven of the Wind had left its northern home a month before, and until yesterday had been part of a fleet of similar ships ravaging the English coast. Finding the pickings small for so many, Polygrim, their captain, seeking an unravaged area, had taken them off on their own. Like all Viking captains, Polygrim's knowledge of the sea and waterways enabled him to land raiding parties anywhere with an unrestricted freedom of action that gave the raiders an immense mobility while putting the surprised Saxons to great disadvantage, and so on. And he's even got a little conversation. Polygrim padded down the centre of the gently rolling ship to the bench his son shared with Rolf and Godred. To Bjorn's whispered greeting, he said, "I have been here before. At the foot of yon headland, there's a path from the beach to the cliff top, with a village about a mile inland."
Nice.
The grizzled Northman indicated their venture, and it goes on like that for pages. So it's got a lot of the elements of role playing because he's telling a story, he's giving background to these characters, and then there's there's a little map as well. So he's giving background to these characters. He's got an individual name and all the rest, and people are going to play it out. So it's a sort of early example of wargaming, and the rules are relatively simple. And then there's good old Millennium's End. So as many of our listeners will know, there's a common idea that for realism you have to have more complexity. And there are a number of games published from about 1978 on into the early 90s, which went into that. How complicated can we get it to make it super duper realistic? And Millennium's End was kind of the last blast of that. I can't really think of a one that was published later than that. It was complicated. So how that worked was, okay, so when you aim, you've got these figures, right?
Oh my God.
Different figures based on their posture. And you see they've got hit locations. Okay. Now to aim, you have this transparent sheet. And you probably won't be able to see it very well. You probably won't be able to see it very well, but the transparent sheet, basically, it's a piece of paper. transparent sheet has got a bunch of numbers on it. Okay, so in the middle, there's a 0. So you roll the hit with all your modifications, the D100. If you hit exactly, it goes exactly where you've aimed it. If you miss by, say, 10, see where the 10 dot is? You actually hit that spot instead. So you put one on top of the other. You say, okay, I'm going to go for a groin shot like that, and you put it like that. You look at the overlay, then you roll the dice and see where it goes. So what it might mean is that you aim at the groin and then you go high and to the right, and you still hit him. You miss by 10 or whatever. You miss, but you still actually hit him in the trunk. And this kind of answers like what, you've got the guy with they've got other overlays later, but like overlays of like a guy holding the hostage, and you want to shoot that guy in the head, and you miss him and accidentally shoot the hostage in the head. You've got that. There's that overlay. So after doing that overlay and figuring out where you hit him, you then go to this chart, right? So you've got the chart of the damage table is the source of all information on wound effects. It's fairly complex, but it's actually quite easy to use. Listed along the top, heading each column, are 25 trauma levels. Down the left side, the list of the damage types, and further down the body zones.
Does it have levels of unconsciousness, like shallow unconsciousness, deep unconsciousness?
No. So the first step in using the damage table is to determine the trauma level of the wound. To do so, start with the delivered damage of the attack after accounting for armor effects. Look up the body zone hit along the left of the damage table and find the trauma modifier for the location. So you get extra trauma. It's like the trauma on the head, 1 times 1.6, trauma on the upper arms times 0.8, trauma in the groin times 1.2, trauma in the hips times 1, and so on. So there's a modifier. So the trauma level, you might think it's just 10, but because it's on the head, it's actually 16. Or because it's on the thigh, it's actually 8. And then there's lots of, and it goes on. I won't go on to it because it's the gaming equivalent of fingernails on a blackboard. It works a bit quicker in play than you might expect, but it's still too slow. So, it takes away the excitement. It takes a long time just to find out. Yeah, you got shot and you fell down. That's.
Yeah, I expect it moves at the era of geological ages, so it's not that slow. It's just glacial. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Rob Cocula says, "I shoot the hostage in the knee, so they fall to the ground, giving the rest of the party a clear shot."
The speed solution.
That's right. Simulationist RPG, says Paul, great for teaching math, bad at telling stories. Yes. Well, I don't think it's the simulation itself, Paul. I wrote a blog article about that and talked about that in the previous stream with Bill. I think there's accuracy and precision, and people mistake one for the other. So, as I was taught by brothers and other in high school physics, precision is basically how many decimal points your measurement goes to, and accuracy is how accurate it is. So if you were to say that I am like 6 foot and 0.345 of an inch, that would be precise, but it would not be accurate. If you'd said I'm about 5'10", that would be accurate, but not precise. So ideally, we want both accurate and precise, but the thing is that many people and game designers will mistake precision for accuracy. It's a really common dodgy thing that the media and governments and so on do. They say, we believe that as a result of the policies, 123,200 jobs will be created. And that just sounds more believable to people than if they say about 100,000 jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
So game design can fall into the same thing, thinking it's really detailed, therefore it must be realistic.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not true. It can be really detailed and just ridiculous, and it can be not very detailed, pretty abstract, and be fairly reasonable. So,
and if you're not careful with the realism sauce, you wind up with Rollmaster, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. You don't want get that out of here. You don't want that.
Well, my son was watching the archery in the Olympics and that, and he was quite into that. And as I was watching that, I thought I was waiting for somebody to take his ear off.
Yeah.
Rollmaster's got the critical fumble tapes, and 5% or something.
Well, by
all hits will be a fumble, and then like 5% of all fumbles will be the bowstring takes your ear off.
By Rollmaster system, to date in the 2020-ish Olympics in Tokyo, 2 archers should be dead.
Taken off the ears and bled out in a paddock like Van Gogh.
Yes, that should be what happened. According to Rollmaster, thank God we don't have to live according to Rollmaster. But
yeah, so Paul and others, I don't believe a game has to be super detailed to be realistic, particularly if you think of the thing of rules versus rulings, or rules being what's in the book and rulings being what the game master comes up with. Because whatever absurdities happen to pop up in a system, a good game master is going to balance them out and make things a bit more reasonable and a bit more interesting, we would hope.
Yep.
So it is a common thought.
The only rules admonishment that I think there is in any role-playing game system, particularly in Dungeons and Dragons, if you're going to be wonky, be evenly wonky. If you have it so wall of force can't be moved forwards, backward, left, right, up, or down, and that's what you tell the players, don't have the bad guy able to do it.
Yeah.
Or if the bad guy can't do it, don't let your players do it. Just be even-handedly wonky, because...
And if you're going to have critical fumble tables, you've got to have critical success tables too.
Yes. And that's why I don't have critical hit tables in AD&D. I mean, the good hits, bad miss. It's nice to cheer when you get that nat 20, but at the same time, it can literally just drag a game down going to critical tables. The only crit system I've seen in fantasy that does not do that, and that's because it is short and has a very close proximity. See, that's a bad thing, guys. I'll tell you, folks who are not familiar with older role-playing games, is we loved our tables and charts back in the 70s and 80s and up through the mid-90s. Loved our tables and charts. There is a book, a separate book of what happens when you stab somebody a certain way in Rollmaster. It's a booklet, but it is a separate volume.
Yeah, just like for vehicles, there is a braking distance table here.
Oh God, yeah, same thing. But in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition, right next to where it tells you damage, there's a little section to cover critical hits. I think you may actually have to turn a page, but it doesn't send you off to an index or to a separate book. So that's okay. That's okay. You are quite welcome, Ricky. So I got to ask you this, Kyle, before we go too far, because we're getting up on where it's time to have some conflict. But did you create a character for Gygax Day? Did you roll 3d6 in order down the line for Gygax Day?
No, because I had my kids around and
oh, that's right.
I was cooking for them and all the rest.
I understand. So Ricky says, thanks for reviewing his character, Arendelle, because I got this lovely. I have enough characters here. These guys may show up in my games. Thank you guys for the for doing some
Strength 10, intelligence 9, wisdom 11. What's after that?
Dexterity.
Dexterity 9.
Okay.
Constitution 10. And last one's charisma 11. There you go.
Yeah.
So I could be any of the basic 4 classes, will be completely unremarkable at all of them.
Any of the basic 4 classes, sir, unremarkable. So there you go. Happy Guy Gex Day, Kyle.
There you go.
Oh, so just so they don't, I don't want folks to feel left out here. Rich was talking about in Aces and Eights, they have something called the shot clock. Now, I never played Aces and Eights. When I saw that it had poker chips and a deck of cards in it, I was like, I checked out of it. But I understand that it works for some people. But Aces and Eights has the shot clock. Hackmaster 5e has crit hit and crit fumbles, which apply to monsters. That's also from Rich. And Robert Weber says, if we could have incorporated slide rulers to those charts and tables. Oh my gosh. So speaking of shooting things, Kyle, things, yeah. I think there's a political situation brewing in Frankistan, is there not?
Yes, there is. All right, Bill, why don't you tell them what your character has done so far? Tell them about Lieutenant Walters.
So Lieutenant Walters is a former U.S. Army, and he has been subcontracted by the U.S. government to go into the fictional. Well, let's do it right. The stateside government to go to the fictional former Eastern Bloc Republic of Frankistan, specifically at the nation's major city, Das Kapital, as the what are the FLA, Freedom, Liberation.
The Squad of Righteous Fury.
The Squad of Righteous Fury. That's right. The Squad of Righteous.
It sounds a lot better. It sounds a lot better in Frankistan.
Yeah, I can certainly imagine, because they don't want this particular. How should we say, resource-enriched nation to slip back into the shadow of the Eastern Bloc governments. So
it's not that resource-enriched. It's just it's politically important because it's a former Soviet republic. So if you can turn a former Soviet republic into a nice, happy, democratic, prosperous nation, then that really pisses off the Russians.
There's something there that Halliburton wants, Kyle. Anyway, but so we've been.
If there was, you'd have more troops.
Oh, fair enough. Fair. Drone strikes would be more readily an option, huh? So we've been sent in as to bolster the United Nations peacekeeping force. We're boots on the ground, and my plenipotentiaries, who Kyle runs in another session, broke up a weapons cache situation where the Frankistani rebels had acquired, I would guess probably SA-14s, but some kind of man-portable SAM. And
yep.
The individual responsible for it, the former GRU man, was in custody of the Frankistani police. I went in and had a talk to him. I brought him a jug of purified water. And anybody who watched the last session knows I poured some in a cup and I gave it to him and he drank it and he was very grateful. And then he made a bunch of comments about me being Mel Gibson, and while I certainly, could approve of the looks update, the implication being that I was there playing good cop, I said, no, you're mistaken. I'm bad cop, but the Frankistani chief of police is worse cop, and then left. And shortly thereafter, the Russian ambassador, accompanied by a bunch of Russian naval infantry Marines as embassy security, rolled in, took the guy out at gunpoint, thus denying us of a potential intelligence resource to ask questions of in a very polite manner. He will be leaving the country tonight via cargo plane, and my team and myself know exactly precisely where, what was it, Oleg? What was his name?
Igor Gherkin.
Igor Gherkin.
Gherkin.
I knew, I had a 2 in 6 chance of getting it right, and I rolled a 1 and then I rolled a 3. So on a 4 through 6, Bill gets it that it's Igor, not Ivan or Oleg. But anyway, Igor will be motoring out to the airport tonight, all by his lonesome, with a driver of unknown origin. So my team is now going to go find Igor, and yes, my boss there.
No, it's you.
Oh, that's me. Okay. I got to be Steve. Okay, cool. So yeah,
and there's your team on their vehicle.
Because my character is a card-carrying member of the Good Sam Club, which if you're an RVer here in the United States, you know that the Good Sam Club lend assistance to people broken down on the road. I will be going out to make sure that Igor safely makes it to the airport, which might include an impromptu auto safety inspection of the undercarriage of the car when it's pointing at the fucking sky. So, with that said, I will turn narrative control back over to your captain, Kyle Schuant. Please observe the no shooting signs are not lit.
Oh, so, okay, so your boss, where is it? Sorry, I've got to get my notes. This is what happens when we get interrupted by lockdowns and that. I forget all my notes and my, what's that doing? So it's just, this is random shit that I found in my in my game folder, just completely unrelated files. Yeah, so that's your crew. All right, so your boss Donovan, that's his name, Donovan.
Right.
Yeah, he tells you, okay, just be aware. We won't be able to get the Marines or anyone else in to bail you out.
Understood. I want a portable cell phone jammer.
Yep.
I want night vision gear for everybody.
Yep. Well, he's going in the morning. You won't need night vision gear unless you stay out longer. But yeah, So he's going in the morning. Yeah. So the flights usually go early in the morning because by this time of year, by mid-afternoon, it's just too damn hot for anyone, and they have to shut off the air conditioning at the airport. Otherwise, it burns out. They used to try to put it on in the hottest part of the afternoon, but it just burned out and set fire to the building. So nowadays they just basically shut down from about 2 to 6 in the afternoon. From about 1400 to 1800, they just shut down, and then they restart in the evening.
All right.
They can't get, so it'll be the morning. So local sunrise is about 0700, and they expect that he'll be leaving because there's a flight that goes to Berlin. Sorry, not Berlin. Let me check. Flight. Flight's going to Warsaw at 08:15. So it'll be coming sometime after dawn, you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only a couple of routes that he can take. So you would either have to have observers everywhere, ready to go everywhere, just section, or because essentially there's like only so many routes he can take from the Russian embassy, and then when once it reaches the airport, there's only so many routes there, but there's many routes that he could take in between. Does that make sense? So if you want to be sure of getting him, it has to be either close to the embassy or close to the airport. One of the two.
Yeah, we're definitely going to take the close to the airport route.
Yeah, but just be aware that close to the airport, you've got the peacekeepers as well. So there's a UN force that's guarding the airport. So the UN isn't really interfering in the civil war that's happening here in Frankistan, but they are. So there's food distribution, there's non-government organisations, World Health Organization, all that sort of stuff, and there's a small UN force that protects those guys. They almost never shoot at anyone, but they don't go out and shoot anyone. But if someone comes up and shoots at the Medicine Sans Frontières guys, then they will protect them. Just that small UN force. And they tend to be rather proper and follow rules of engagement and the law and all that sort of stuff, unlike you guys. Whereas, Bill's guys are the Frankistan Assistance Force, FAF.
All right, so do we have long enough to stir up some shit with the locals near the UN QRF to get a little protest or something going to slow them down reaction-wise?
Well, they won't react. They won't come out of the airport. I'm just saying, there'll be witnesses. In other words, if it's too close to the airport.
Okay, yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? Like it's not like like you see the movies where you basically shoot somebody at Checkpoint Charlie at East Berlin, and as long as you've shot him on this side of the border, it's okay.
Yeah.
Is that it's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
But it would be prudent so that not too many people ask questions, because of course, like if you grab the guy, like the Russian ambassador has already come along once and grabbed the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come and grab him again, the Russian ambassador just might come back again. You know what I mean? If he knows where he's gone, so you need him to disappear.
Right on.
You need to do a night and fog on the guy. If otherwise there'll be more awkward questions. Shah has a safe house that you can take him to if you want to. If you don't want to take him back to the prisoners.
Oh,
remember Shah of the DKP?
Oh yeah, no, this guy's going down a permanent black hole. He is not. He is not going to be in American custody. He's not going to be in Frankistani custody. He's going to be in Republic of Walter's custody, which is the worst possible place he could be.
And I just want to remind you of how you know where he's going. So you've been told by the intelligence section that the local rebels are smart enough to avoid being listened into. They have motorcycle messengers taking coded messages around in their head, read out a string of letters and numbers. They're encoded and decoded with a one-time pad by the locals, and those locals are advised by the Russians. They're probably the ones who taught them to do that. The Russians, on the other hand, themselves, you've intercepted comms from the embassy, which has like encryption from about 1978 or something, and that's how you know that there'll just be this guy in the vehicle.
Okay.
That's how you know.
Right on.
So yeah, that's how you know. Okay, so you want to grab them in the street, they're fairly near.
Yes.
Okay.
Just the plan is basically try and force them down a side street that they weren't expecting to go down, and then get him there.
Okay. Well, you've definitely got one vehicle. You can get a second vehicle of the same kind if you want.
Yes, please. I'm guessing these are either Datsun sedans or Toyota Land Rovers.
Yeah, that's pretty much like what you see in the image. And there, she's got the pintle mount, but she doesn't actually have anything mounted on it. You can see that the machine gun's supposed to be. You can even see. You can even. So for those who don't know, this here is a mount, and normally there would be a machine gun or something like that put there, and then that little thing there, that's for the belt-fed ammunition to sit in.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, in this particular still from the telly show, they don't have one. But yeah, obviously you can put a machine gun on there.
All right. Well, let's roll on these guys. Let's do it.
Okay. How are you going to be geared up? So obviously you have level 3 vests, armor class 3 vests, and you have assault rifles and handgun. You can definitely have that. Is there anything else that you want?
Everybody carries a couple of flashbangs, a couple of smoke, 6 or 8 zip ties a piece, bear spray.
Yeah.
Taser, definitely. Everybody gets a taser.
You don't have tasers. Yeah. They don't have tasers.
All right.
The DKP, the local cops, just use a truncheon. That's their stun.
Right.
I want to stun you? Okay.
Stun him. If I didn't think it would violate YouTube content.
Stun him at a distance? Okay.
Yeah. I didn't think it would violate YouTube content policy. I'd show my dad's taser from when he was a policeman for the USAF back in the 60s. Okay, so our
Okay, you meant So
like I said,
you mentioned wanting to do a check on the vehicle that was upside down. How are you going to make it upside down?
Well, my thinking initially was catching him on the open highway at night, and then just pitting him, just doing a very hard pit maneuver, and getting him off the shoulder, which would render the car upside down.
Well, he won't be on the highway at night because all this is happening within the green zone.
Right. We'll be in a city street. Then
because basically you've got there's a big long building that's the DKP Das Kapital Police headquarters on one side, and on the other side is the Frankistan Assistance Force, which is you guys and the intelligence section and everything. Down in the basement of the DKP is where they keep their prisoners, that haven't been convicted yet. And so then there's your side, the Frankistan Assistance Force, all sorts of bits and pieces and connections to satellites and blah, blah, blah. And then in this zone is the headquarters for the various non-government organizations and a couple of the country's embassies, including the Russian embassy. And then series of roads, narrow roads. It's a city that was built before cars were invented, so a lot of narrow one-way streets. And apartment buildings built right up, washing lines in between the apartment buildings, that kind of thing. Then just on the edge of the green zone is the airport. Recall that in your first day in Das Kapital, you got ambushed on the way from the airport to that, which was unusual. It was the first big action in the green zone for about a month.
Right.
There hasn't been anything since. There hasn't been any sign of terrorists or squad of righteous fury guys since.
Okay.
Been quiet since, except for your little arms standoff with the Russian Marines. But
sure, but those things happen. All right. Yeah. So ideally, we'll do tailing him and then running parallel to him, like one vehicle behind the other on a parallel road.
Well, if you look at a map, you know that there's a couple of roads that he'll have to go down. Like I said, immediately from the embassy, there's a couple of roads he'll have to go down. And then immediately approaching the airport, there's a couple of roads he'll have to go down. It's just in between that's uncertain.
Okay.
So it would be possible to wait and then jump in front of him or something like that, like the SRF guys did to you.
Well, then that's what we'll do. We'll just pick a likely ambush point and just cross the eye,
Yeah.
Block him going forward, block him going backwards, bag him there, and scuttle on back to our safe house.
Yeah. Okay, so you all right, so you're out and about, and then at about 0650, you get a call from Donovan, and he says he's leaving the embassy. A little bit larger, larger vehicle than we expected. He said, you know what I mean? It's not like a little mini SUV kind of thing. It's a fairly solid looking
Sure.
Land Rover, or whatever the Russian equivalent is.
All right.
Dark windows as well.
Okay. Either balaclavas or neck gaiters for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll set our ambush.
Okay. You set your ambush. You're sitting there in your vehicle. The occasional local goes past and peers in the window, and then they see a rifle barrel pointing in their direction.
Yeah.
You know, I don't expect you to be pointing it at people, but you're just sitting there with it like that. Occasionally, someone walks past it, and it will be pointing at them as they walk past, and like, oh,
Yeah.
So then they move on. This is a relatively clear street. The green zone has all been rebuilt after the damage of the Civil War. The city outside it is another matter. There's a lot of rubble and all the rest, but the green zone is fairly well built and well maintained. And most of the people who live here actually work for the non-government organisations and stuff. So there's a number of expats, but also the locals who do the cleaning and cooking and all the rest. Yeah, you wouldn't involve the locals in the administration. That would be silly. What would you do that for?
Right.
That would build a future for the country. So you don't do that. But you, so that's who lives in the area.
Okay.
All right. So you're sitting there for a little bit. And Donovan says, "Yeah, I don't have access to drone or anything. This is all off the books." So he just tells you when they left the embassy.
Right on.
So you're sitting there, waiting. Sitting and waiting. Someone goes past. A little kid goes past on his push bike. Few people going up and down the street.
Right on.
You see one on his mobile phone. Glances over at you. He's still talking. His mobile phone around.
I'm gonna hit.
So remember who?
If I have access to the jammer, I'm gonna hit the switch on it, or I'm gonna nudge the person who does, and just
Okay. So are you in the lead vehicle or the back vehicle?
I'm probably going to be in the lead vehicle.
Okay. So Walter's in the lead vehicle. We have Sumawata with you. Her.
Okay.
And McPherson with you. And then there's the other three. The other three can be in the other vehicle. So there can be Stapleton, Brown, and McKee. It can be in the other vehicle down the back. All right, so you put your mobile phone jammer on, and the guy's talking a lot. He's still talking for a little bit, and then he kind of pauses. Like, he's obviously saying, "What? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" He's like, he's got our sort of technical problems. Like, can you hear me, man? Can you hear me?
He might have to go another block or two away to get to get better service. You know how it is.
So he hangs up, he puts it in his pocket, and he walks off. He glances over at your vehicle again, and he walks off. The street's clear. Everyone's got off the road at the moment.
Okay.
Like it's suddenly clear.
All right.
And the ones in the back vehicle radio you. I assume you have walkie-talkies or something.
Sure.
So Stapleton radios you, and he says target vehicle passing.
All right. We'll
Goes past.
pull into place then.
All right. So the target vehicle comes on up, and so you pull in front of it. Yeah.
Yep.
And then so Stapleton's got pull behind it. All right. So you've got the closest you could get. There's about 50 yards.
Okay.
Between the two alleys, right? So you've come out of side alleys on the road, and there's about 50 yards between you. So and there's this vehicle. So the target vehicle is in between.
Okay.
There's no other vehicles on the road. There's somebody's push bike leaning against a building or whatever, and all the doors are firmly shut. There's nobody around. There's nobody around. Okay. So the target vehicle comes up. And you pull out. Okay, roll for surprise. So that's a 1d6.
I got a 6.
Okay. All right, so you seem to have surprise. The vehicle just stops. Okay, what do you guys do?
Let's see. I think blinding them first is probably best, so I'm gonna chuck a smoke grenade. I'm gonna roll out of the car and chuck a smoke grenade.
Yep. Yeah, you don't need to roll to because you're just rolling it down the road. Yep. So smoke grenade.
All
Do you
right.
want the smoke around you or the smoke around them?
The smoke around them.
Okay.
And
Right, so
I'm just gonna check
smoke comes on.
and make sure I know where a flashbang is on my webbing.
Yep. Yep. You put it the same place that you always do. He's a military guy, you have it. So if you put it on the left-hand side of your webbing, you will always put it on the left-hand side of your webbing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got it the same place you always do.
All right. Do I hear car doors? Are they getting out?
No.
Okay.
That's part of achieving surprise. They're sitting there going, oh, shit.
Okay.
Right, so you've used up one round of your surprise to get out because you've got 2 actions normally with readiness 2. So you step out and you chuck the flashbang.
All right.
The smoke.
Move to the driver's door. I presume I would know what the orientation of this is, left or right.
Yeah. It's only Britain and Australia that have a right-hand drive.
Well, it could have been Frankistan too.
No.
All right, I'll drag on the door. I'll drag on the door handle.
Okay, who do you take with you? Like, lay it out exactly.
I'm on point, and I've got there were 2 others in the vehicle with me, right?
Yes. So there's you, there's Simawata, and you've got McPherson.
Okay.
And then there's the 3 in the back. What do you want the 3 in the back to do?
The 3 in the back are line abreast, moving up low towards the rear of the vehicle. We're coming up. Sumawata's on my left rear. McPherson is parallel to me, but maybe 5 yards out. So when I open that door, if somebody's feeling froggy, they're going to get stung by him. I'm not like opening the door and standing there looking goober. I'm opening the door out.
All right. As you approach the vehicle, like Donovan had warned you, it's got darkened windows.
Okay.
And as you approach, it looks a bit heavier than a normal kind of Rover, and you realize it's obviously armored.
Sure. I would figure as such.
Yeah. Okay. Can you make a throw for Stapleton, please? 2d6 throw.
I got a 7 for Stapleton.
Okay, that's fine with his skill, and he radios. He says, "There's a bomb on the back."
There's a bomb in the back.
The bomb on the back. The claymore or some shit. It says he's stopping his guys.
Okay. I pull back.
Okay. All right. So you guys pull back. All right. You hear the engine still running of this vehicle.
Okay.
It's sitting there. The engine's still running within the smoke that's kind of drifting in and out.
Okay. So do I still have cover of smoke on the front?
Yeah.
All right.
You've all got hindered visibility on both sides.
Okay. I'm gonna wave Sumuwata and McPherson back, not completely back to the vehicle, but I'm just gonna wave them back. I'm gonna move forward and find a juicy place between the wheel well and engine compartment to shove a couple of flashbangs, and assuming that I can pull the pins on them.
Yeah, you can, but a flashbang won't do anything to a car to the engine though.
Not enough oomph to fuck anything up in there.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
All right then. But it is an armored vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Then HE frag it is.
Yeah.
All right. So that Mr. Lotta,
Okay, so
Mr. Lotta Land Cruiser gets to eat.
The rest of the team take up cover in. There's a lot of doorways, right? So these buildings are made of heavy mortar and stuff, and so they take up cover behind pillars and doorways and so on as much as possible.
Okay.
They'll move to position of cover while you go forward with that. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so as you approach, roll for initiative. Used up all your surprise.
All right.
1d6.
D6. 5.
All right. Through 6. I get it. My guys get initiative. Okay. The door opens. So the passenger side door, so there'll be the right-hand one. Passenger side door opens, and a rifle barrel sticks out. And it fires, but it's just firing wild through the smoke.
Okay.
That won't hit, but it does this. It does this, but like a 3-round burst. It's not proper automatic. It's like.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. So that's fired at you. So that's and the driver's side door stays closed.
All right. Switching up tactics then. When I see that door pop open and that, I'm gonna. I know it's not the best thing for a quarterback to attempt, but things have gone. Things are going about like I figured they would go. I'm going to do a crossbody throw with a flashbang because now they've got the door open and there's really only one place for the flash and the bang to go, and try and lob it onto that side of the car.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm not trying to put it through the door. I'm not like trying to boomerang it. But if it's on that side of the car when it goes off, they will have gotten their attention and their bells rung.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Make a throw for not the key because you won't know what it is. Make another throw for Stapleton.
All right. Stapleton's got a 6.
6. Okay. All right. So you're up the front. The others are all undercover. Stapleton's looking around but doesn't see anything. Okay. Make a throw for your. It's your action now. So make a throw of the flashbang.
All right. Sorry, those both landed on the monitor stand. That's better. 9.
9. Okay. That's. Yep, that should be no problem. Boom. Over to the side of the vehicle, and so that goes off. Boom. So it does a blunt attack against whoever's nearby. So roll a 1d6.
5.
5, yeah. So it goes boom, and you don't know what the reaction is because you can't see the guy. You just see the rifle, but you don't see the rifle like suddenly fall down or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's obvious that the guy's opened up this armored door and he's just using the crack between the door and the front of the vehicle and the windscreen to fire through. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So using using that for cover.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay, yeah. So you lob it over, it goes boom. You don't hear any cries of pain or anything like that. Blam. Okay. You've got one more action. You can just duck behind cover if you want.
Yeah, I'll take cover.
Okay, so you take cover. All right. Next round, initiative again. 1d6.
5.
5. Okay, you go first this time.
Has disposition changed on the rifle barrel?
No.
Okay. I'll yell back at my 2 team members. Has anybody got a clear shot?
Negative. Make another throw for Stapleton.
Got a 6 for Stapleton.
Okay, it's a cumulative thing, so you'll spot it this time. He says, up on the top, we've got company. And so you glance up and you see a couple of rifle barrels above the top. You can't see who it is because it's like 3 floors up and you're down in this narrow 1-lane street. It's like 3 floors up, but there's some, you see rifle barrels and the occasional head poke over. You have no idea the nationality of the head or where they're or what unit they're from or anything like that, or they could just be civilians with firearms. But
it could be a wedding. A Frankenstein wedding is about to happen up there, and
it's on either side of the building. It's on either side of the street.
All right. All I can do, short of drone striking this thing at this point, is yell for everybody to get to cover. I mean, if they've got that kind of an advantage, and those aren't good guys, rushing out in the middle of the street and surrounding effectively a light armored personnel carrier is.
Well, it would be hard for those guys, because like I said, it's 3 floors up and it's a narrow 1-way street. So it makes it difficult for you because there's not much to maneuver, but it's also, if those guys are on the roof's enemy, they have to kind of lean right over to fire down. It's not advantageous.
If they are Frankenstein police or some local disinterested militia. Basically, if they're not hostile, I'm going to give them a few heartbeats to do it. But if anybody gets shot at, then we're going to know that they've got the terrain advantage on us here.
Yeah.
So we'll take that round to do that, and I'll wave everybody to cover.
Yeah. Well, they're all undercover already.
Okay.
They just sort of scooch a little bit tighter.
Yeah. No, more cover. Get more cover. So.
All right. Okay. So Stapleton tells you he's crawling up. He's crawling up. He's crawling up to disarm the claymore.
All right, I will cover him in case anybody sticks their head
He says,
out.
Give me some more smoke.
I'll assume he wants it on him and chuck one over there. You want a die roll on that?
Yeah. It's just around the vehicle, that's all.
7.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Okay. So, he's crawling on up. That's going to take him a bit because he's crawling. He really doesn't want to be seen when he's crawling up to an anti-personnel mine.
Yeah.
All right. So this round, now they fire back at you. Like, oh, that'll. Okay, so hits
Okay.
one of you three, but you're all undercover except for occasionally poking your head and arm out. I assume head and right arm because you're doing that.
Sure.
So hit locations. So hit one of those three. So there's Walters, Samawata, and McPherson. So McPherson gets fired at. And it would have hit him on the left arm, but it hits a concrete barrier instead. It goes boom, because he's undercover. So this is how I simulate. Rather than having this, we have the hit location, and if that location is undercover, then okay, great.
There you go.
Even if that cover is another person. There you go, and that saves the overlay.
Easy peasy, guys.
So yeah, so Paul, it doesn't have to be super complicated to come up with a reasonable response.
Right on.
I normally have music playing when I do game sessions, but we don't want to get, not demonetized because we don't get any money, but removed or muted or whatever. So, okay, yeah, so somebody takes a shot at him and it just hits the barrier. He's like, oh, I'm glad I'm undercover. Okay. So, back to you. Initiative.
3.
Okay. They go first. The engine revs up. It backs up a little bit. The vehicle backs up a little bit. And then it starts accelerating forwards. Towards you. Well, you know what I mean, in your direction.
Right.
He's obviously backed up. He wants some more room to accelerate because your vehicle is blocking the street.
Sure. Even though I know I probably can't get the driver, maybe I can just spook him a little bit, and I will try and craze the window, the driver's side of the windshield. I figure that's a big enough target, even though I'm being specific, that I don't have to take too bad of a penalty. So
yeah, you're just effectively firing blind, but you're firing at a vehicle. You can hit the vehicle.
Yeah,
it's just do you hit anything important?
Right.
Okay, so make a roll as it's coming at you.
Got a 5.
Yep. So and you ping ping ping, you boop, 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 ping 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 ping. Are you getting everyone else to fire too?
Yes.
Okay. So everyone else opens up on the vehicle. The door is still open, and he's still firing at you as he's going along. Still firing back.
I didn't know if you wanted me to roll. Did you want me to roll?
Yeah, we'll roll for 2 of them.
Okay, Sumata got a 4, but McPherson got a 9.
Okay, so Sumata lets out her whole magazine and needs to reload. And McPherson gets a 9. Just do it, actually. All right, that guy. Yep, okay. Wounding matrix, but you can only get the head, right arm, or trunk, because that's what's sticking out of the vehicle.
Okay. So what do you want me to roll?
So roll D6, D6.
All right. Call it a 5 and a 2.
5 and a 2. So right leg, probably at least part of the right leg will be out because the vehicle's out. He's getting out of the vehicle. And the 2, all right. So, boom. So he hits the guy in the leg. And you hear, ah! It's cursing in Russian.
I was going to say, is it but in Russian?
Yeah.
Ski.
So, all right. So the vehicle comes. So the Land Rover comes. Armored Land Rover comes out of the smoke that you set. You pop up and start firing at it. The guy is still leaning out of the vehicle, firing at you guys. Stapleton, who was crawling along the ground, now stands up, getting ready to fire. The other two behind him, they do not fire because then they'd be firing on you.
Okay.
But they start running forward. The vehicle, it's coming along like that, and it's going towards your parked vehicle in the middle of the street. It emerges from the smoke, the engine's revving, bursts of fire coming out of it. A big long burst of fire comes out, and then it suddenly stops. And then, from above, this little stick or something comes tumbling down towards the back three.
Oh, shit.
And it doesn't even make it all the way to the ground before it goes off. Bang! So that was an old stick grenade. Goes down. So there's the three at the back. There's Stapleton, Brown, and McKee. They're more than a grenade distance from each other because you don't cluster together for this very reason. So lands right next to Stapleton. Okay. So he'll take first a blunt wounding thing, and 3-3 minor wound, and then minor wound. Okay, so Stapleton goes down. Yeah. And he goes down. The rest just stuck behind. There's boom, big puff of smoke. It's not a big fireball like you see in the movies. It's like a big puff of smoke and a big bang. Boom, bang. Right. The Land Rover keeps coming. Okay, next round, initiative.
6.
Okay. So simultaneous initiative. Simultaneous loving, as they said in the South Park movie. Okay. So it's going to come and it's going to strike the vehicle this round. That's essentially their action. Okay. And the guy's still hanging out the vehicle, firing. This time, he's still firing at McPherson because that's who he sees. First he reloads, and then he fires. So he just gets one lot of fire this round. Okay, and he doesn't hit McPherson, just blat. Okay, your turn. So you've got yourself, Samawata, McPherson. Yeah, you've got those three. Okay, so you and McPherson can see the driver. Samawata can just see the vehicle. She's on the other side of the street.
I can see the driver.
No, sorry, not the driver, the guy shooting out.
Oh, the gunner.
Because you've been shooting.
Okay. All right, the gunner. All right. And it's impacted the car, right?
It's about to. It's going to. You're all acting simultaneously. So as you're firing, it's coming in to strike the car.
That would put the mine facing us if he's gone that past us.
Yeah. You think the mine? You think the mine was probably a last stand kind of thing, because even if the vehicle's armored, having an anti-personnel mine going right outside it, you never know exactly what the effect's going to be if it goes right on top of the armor.
Yeah, I know. Like with a claymore,
it might have been. It's probably a last stand kind of thing.
Yeah, a claymore mine is, people think of it. Oh, it just goes that way. No, it goes back that way too.
Yeah. So you think it was probably a last stand kind of thing.
Okay.
Not a casual use thing.
Right. Okay. So I'll check over my shoulder and I'll see if my guy, is he missing part of his arm or a good portion of his head or anything like that?
Glance back, Stapleton, you can't see because there's the smoke in the way.
The smoke, the dust from the wheels. Okay, I gotcha. All right.
Yeah, but he's still making a lot of noise over the radio, so he's still alive.
All right.
He's not happy.
I will shoot a quick glance up. Do I see anybody leaning over the roof?
Okay, so that would be, you're doing an orient action and a shooting action. So you're looking around. Okay, looking around, you do see guys leaning over with rifles.
The first,
but they're not shooting. They're not shooting at you at the moment.
They threw a grenade down at us.
Yeah.
the first convenient individual is going to hopefully meet Mr. AR. So I'm going to shoot it.
Okay, so you're not worried about the vehicle that's coming directly at or past you. You're just going to worry about the guys up there.
Oh, well, I mean, if it's going to come past us and hit the car, it's going to be stopped for at least a round.
Well, you don't know. It depends how because remember it's quite a short vehicle, so it doesn't occupy the whole width of the street. Another vehicle couldn't pass it, but it's possible it could strike the vehicle and knock it out of the way. It would slow it down. You know what I mean? It's not going to be going at 100 kilometers an hour. It would slow it down, but it may not stop it entirely. Depending on the skill of driver, I'm going to have to make a driver attack roll against the vehicle.
Okay. I'll yell to Sumata over the radio, pointing up, and yell suppress that, and shoot at the guy leaning out leaning out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
I got a 9.
Okay, that'll be a miss, and the McPherson or Olfin. Oh no, it won't be a miss because you got firearms expertise, haven't you?
Yes.
Yep. So so that'll be a hit. You can only get his arm and his head.
All right.
It's coming right at you. So roll d6. Location.
5 and 4.
5 and 4. Yeah. So that would have been his right leg, but the vehicle door stops it. Ping!
Okay.
Okay, and roll for the throw for McPherson as well.
McPherson got an 8.
8, yep. So that'll be a miss for McPherson.
All right.
Bing, bing. But yes, Brown's going ding, 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 ding. Vehicle. Okay. The vehicle, so Samada just does a suppressing fire. The vehicle comes along and strikes yours. With 8, that's 11. So bang. All right. So it hits the back of the vehicle and it turns it slightly. So he will be able to force his way through in the next round or two. You know, and like if he keeps grinding away, it is a Land Rover. A regular vehicle would just be stuck at this point, but a Land Rover, because it's got a lot of torque in the engine, he'll be able to push through. But there'll be a little bit where he's essentially immobilized.
Okay. I know what I'm doing the next round, but I don't know if you want me to blurt it out yet.
No, you don't have to state it yet. Okay, initiative.
6.
Okay, you go first.
Frag grenade under.
All right.
I'm rolling a frag grenade under the car.
Yep.
Sir, when was...
you aim just the vehicle generally, or are you aiming at a particular spot? Because remember that driver's side door is still open. It's sort of it's less open because so you've got your car here, and you've got there's there like that, and then of course there's the side of the street. So it's a really narrow. There's this little narrow kind of space that one of you could be firing or throwing at the guy.
I'm actually aiming for the front half under. But to be under the front half of the vehicle where the engine is.
Yeah, frag grenade probably won't wreck the engine. Particularly one that's like, this vehicle's been armored up, so they've probably got some armor underneath in case of IEDs and stuff.
V-shaped hull on the bottom, right?
Well, it won't be a V-shaped hull. Won't be, because it's not a mine-resistant armored vehicle. But it is an armored vehicle, so it'll be fairly tough. Yeah, a frag grenade's unlikely to wreck the engine. There's always the chance, but it's unlikely. There's a better chance of wrecking the person.
Then let's wreck the person. The person.
People are more fragile than vehicles.
Let's wreck the person and see if we can.
Okay.
All right.
Now, do you have did you do baseball or something like that? Do you have a throwing skill?
You know, I don't know. I will.
Okay. There's no sports or anything like that on this.
Let me see. No, firearms is the only expertise I've got. Now, I have English as an expertise. Can I put a little English on it?
Yeah, you can swear at him while you do it.
Take this, you red bastard.
Well, he's probably, to be fair, he's probably swearing.
Yeah, granted.
He's been shot in the leg, so he's probably swearing.
Yes. It's about to get worse, hopefully.
Okay.
And that's a 12. That is a 12.
All right. So it lands right at his feet underneath the vehicle. Okay.
To quote Theo from Die Hard, and the quarterback is toast.
Okay. So on the one hand, it's an armored vehicle. On the other hand, yeah, when you throw an explosive in a confined area, like a room or a trench or something like that, there's an extra wound. So I will say that it is an extra wound. It acts as a confined space because there's an armored vehicle on one side, there's a building on the other, there's a half-open door that's also armored, and there's this guy hanging out like that. So I'll say that acts as a confined space and gives him an extra wound. But on the other hand, you know, a large part of his body is under cover of the vehicle. So it's just all his right side that can cop it. Okay, so normally explosives, what every player likes the most. All right, so checking the rules. Explosives with a helpful picture of a claymore. Front towards enemy. Okay. Fragmentation grenades do 1 wounding throw against everyone within 6 meters, not under cover. All explosives do 1 blunt wounding attack, and they do an extra fragmentation wound if within 1 meter of the target and a confined space like a trench. Okay, so you do first the blunt wounding attack. Basically, that's the concussive effect. So throw for that D6, D6. See what Igor cops.
5 and 3.
5 and 3. Yeah, so he's not concussed by the explosion, but he may be horribly wounded. Okay, so D6, D6 for the first wound, and then for a second.
4 and 6. 5
4 and 6. So left arm, but the cover stops the fragmentation, and
5 and 5.
5 and 5. Right leg, minor wound on his right leg. So he's already been shot in the right leg, and now he pops some fragments in the right leg. So it goes boom. Yeah, in pain in that. All right, the vehicle's still revving along. The driver, I'm sure, is glad that he didn't stick his neck out. Okay, so it's still revving along. Next round. Okay, so you are now within 6 meters of the back of this vehicle because you've thrown that grenade through. You know, you obviously weren't in front. So you've come around behind. You've thrown that through.
Okay.
You've got McPherson right next to you. He's ready to brass anyone up if you want him to. And Samawata, she's firing at the guys above, and the rest of the team at the back. So Stapleton was on the ground wounded. Warren Brown is dragged. McKee will drag him off, and Warren will also do suppressive fire. So Warren Brown and Samawata, they're doing suppressive fire on the people up the top.
Okay.
And they seem to be suppressed by this. So you think they're probably just local militia. Russian Marines would keep popping up and firing anyway.
Yeah. Russian Marines, let's be honest, would have used a fuel era RPG on us by now.
Yeah. All right, so Samawata, she's doing suppressive fire. McPherson's right next to you, ready to do whatever you tell him.
Let's see. Do I think it'll set the claymore off if we shoot it?
No. It's got plastic explosives in it.
Then
so you just make a hole in it.
I'll yell to them at first, and let's take that claymore out.
Well, shooting it won't necessarily take it out. It might still be able to go off. You've got to go and cut the wire, remove the detonator.
All right, then I'll yell to McPherson, cover me. And
yeah, so the Claymore mine, it's got a little detonator sticks in it. The wire comes out.
Okay.
That's not visible. This is whatever the Russian version of that is.
Sure. Yeah, we're not going to quibble.
Yeah.
All right, I will. I
So the
will.
vehicle, boom, it's jammed in there, and it's pushing through, jammed in there like that. And like I said, you've just thrown a grenade just from the side. So it's like the vehicle's there, and the wall is there, and you're just back in there. So there's that little V like that. So if you're aggressive enough, you could just run up to him or
That's
suicidal.
what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What are you getting McPherson to do?
Uh, is Igor still visible?
Well, yeah, part of his arm and leg, because at the moment he's going out.
Yeah. I'll yell at McPherson to do his damnedest not to kill him, but do shoot him.
Well, you won't be able to run up if he's shooting at him.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what I mean? Because you'll be shooting and you'll be running in front of his fire. Because it's this
okay.
narrow thing. Only one of you can both shoot at him.
Then I'll yell at McPherson.
Or one of you can run in.
I'll yell at McPherson to watch my back then and run up to disable the mine. And by disable the mine, I just mean grab wires and yank wires out.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you run up and you see it's just an anti-personnel mine that's been duct taped to the back, and there's a wire that goes in through the door. Someone's just like set it up and then close the door on the wire.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, you could just rip it off with the duct tape.
That's done and dusted.
Yeah, and toss it aside. Yeah. Okay. So McPherson's there and he's waiting. So the vehicle keeps moving forward, grinding. It's so your vehicle was across like that. Now it's turned like that. In the next round, he'll probably get through. You think he'll get through, and then he'll have to accelerate again.
All right. Let me think here. I'll yell back to McPherson, driver's side, and I'm going to climb up on top of the thing, not standing on it, but basically belly crawling on the top of it at that point.
Oh, you're going to climb on top of the vehicle? You mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And basically, I'm going to yell at McPherson, driver's side, shoot the sons of bitches window.
You'll be asking him to shoot at a vehicle that you're climbing on top of?
No, when he gets there, not from 6 meters away. I'm gesturing him over and pointing at the driver's side.
Oh, all right. You want him to just go up and assault the driver, basically?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
You got to make him stop somehow.
Right. All right. So you can climb up on the vehicle. Yeah. You don't need to roll to do it. You need to do it well or quickly. Do you have any kind of athletics or climbing or anything like that?
Hiking. I would know what kind of lunch to pack for the trip.
All right, you don't need any lunch for this trip. All right, so just make a roll.
All right.
You want 10 plus to do it smoothly in one action.
These guys have been good to me tonight, so let's see what I got. Damn it, I got a 9.
Okay, you'll be able to do it in 2 actions. So you get up to the vehicle, you're sort of trying to find purchase. You're trying to find purchase. It's not designed to be climbed on, so and then you'll get up. So it'll take you 2 actions to do that, but you have 2 actions. So you'll be able to get up to the top of it by the end of the round. Okay, so McPherson comes running up and he tries the door, which apparently is locked. So in the next round, he's going to start opening up at the window.
Okay.
At the dark window.
And once I've scooted forward, well, we'll wait for. Yep. I was just going to say we'll wait for things to unfold. I don't want to take a bunch of actions that we don't have yet.
Okay. Next round initiative.
God, I love this dice for initiative. 6.
Okay. Yep. So you go first. He's obviously like stuck on a bit of vehicle or something.
Okay. I am gonna.
So you've climbed on top of the vehicle.
Okay. I'm going to move forward, and I am going to start.
And you hear gunfire behind Samawata, and that like firing up.
Okay.
And Roxanne is doing the first aid on Stapleton.
All right. I am going to scoot forward and proceed to blast away at.
You hear an explosion. Boom!
Shit.
Explosions. They've dropped another grenade, but you don't hear any cries of pain or anything.
Okay.
Ducka, 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 duck.
And with same thing that McPherson is doing to the driver's side window, I'm going to do to the driver's side front windscreen, and just start mag dumping on it.
Okay.
That stuff's not going to last forever.
No, so it's armored glass, so it like holes appear in it, boom, 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 and yeah, so holes appear in it. It will eventually break through, but not this round.
Yeah,
Bagged up on.
Not this round.
And at least, it obscures the driver's vision. It's hard to see when it's all these spiders webs appearing in your screen. All right, so. All right, so and McPherson's doing the same thing. And he's opened up on the driver. Poor guy's inside.
Yeah. And
all right, the passenger side door slams shut as it keeps revving forward. Okay, so you guys are opening up. All right, rev forward. It pushes past the vehicle like that. And in fact, McPherson has to step back a little bit because of the it was like this, pushed up like that, and now it's pushed past. So
right.
He has to step back to avoid getting squashed between vehicles. So he's only able to fire at the window for like half the round.
Okay. Am I doing any appreciable damage?
Well, it's hard to tell because you're on top of the vehicle, and the screen, it's not a coupe. That's like Porsche, you know what I mean? The windscreen isn't like that. The windscreen's like that.
Right.
Yeah. So you would have to poke your head down to see, to have look. You are doing damage to the windscreen, but you don't know exactly how much.
Well, I'll keep firing until
you can poke your head down and see, but then you might receive a surprise yourself. You don't know.
I'll keep firing until the driving gets janky enough to the point where I think that I've gotten their attention.
Okay, well, the driving's janky because there's another vehicle on the way. But like I said, they're going to be clear next round.
It's an armored vehicle, and we have pistols and rifles. I literally don't have any idea what we can do at this point. They've locked all the doors. The local militia decided to get involved, so I am sure these are run while flat tires. So even if we dropped a grenade down there, that wouldn't do anything.
Yep, that's right.
You know what? I'm just gonna. I know what I'm gonna do. If all they're doing is driving forward, then I have the initiative, not capital I initiative, but basically I can make a decision about what to do. I'm gonna wedge my other frag grenade under the windshield wiper, pull the pin, and jump off. The glass is weakened enough that it might blow in. So. That's past that. I'm out of ideas.
So you're making a roll. Obviously, you don't have to roll to hit the windscreen, but you're making a roll to put it under the windscreen wiper rather than just dropping it down onto the street. Sort of thing, right? Okay.
Yeah, I got.
And you're trying to do it while holding onto the moving vehicle as well. So.
Yeah, I got a 9. If that'll work.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So to wedge in, but not really great, but it doesn't have to. All right, and then roll off the vehicle.
Right.
Okay, so make a roll to avoid injury. This is a break fall roll. So.
Sorry, just 2d6 or d6d6?
2d6.
2d6.
So make a break fall.
I got an 8.
Okay, so you hurt yourself rolling off the vehicle. That's right. So there's one wounding throw.
Okay.
So make a wounding throw against yourself.
I got a 3, And
sorry, yeah, 3 and
a 3 and a 3.
3 and 3. Okay, so you'll do a minor wound on your right arm.
Makes sense. I rolled off, landed on my shoulder.
Yeah, land on your shoulder, or you put your hand out, wrist or something like that, sprain the wrist. Like that. The vehicle goes on, and then you hear this. Okay, roll for damage. So I will say, with the case of the window, that if you get a lethal wound, that it blows out the window. So again, it will be a blunt one for concussive effects, breaking glass, and then there'll be 2 because it's a confined area. It's inside the cabin of the vehicle, or it will be if it goes through.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is the blunt wounding.
6 and 4.
6 and 4. Okay, that's just minor. Actually, just do 1d6 because the vehicle isn't a named character, so it doesn't need hit locations. Yep. So just roll 1d6. So do that 3 times. 1d6.
I got 3, 2, and 6.
3, 2, and 6. Okay. So you hear the windscreen blow out, but you don't hear cries of pain and misery from inside. But yeah, the windscreen did blow out.
All right. But he's past our vehicle now, right?
Yeah, and they're starting to accelerate off. McPherson runs over and jumps into your vehicle.
I will. I'm on his heels, basically.
Well, it's right next to it. It's right next to you. It's within 6 meters.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So I will on comms. I'll tell Sumata to get with the B team, cover the wounded, and extract. Just get out of the.
And you
the
all right? So you and McPherson jump into the technical and off you go. Yeah. All right. All right. So you're pursuing. I take it.
Yes.
All right. But good thing you took the claymore off.
No kidding.
All right. So you pursue down these narrow streets.
If this were the action movie, we'd pull up alongside him in this exciting chase, and I'd throw the claymore through the hole in the windshield. You know, very dramatic.
Yeah.
Boom. You know.
Okay. You've blown out the front windshield, but you're at the back.
Okay.
Now, so yeah. All right. So you're going along behind them. McPherson's driving. Down the road. You leave behind the gunfire and the explosions behind you. Those 4 guys. You keep riding, and it's going along, and the driver knows exactly where he's going, to the airport. And there's 3 combat rounds, and if nothing slows them down, 3 combat rounds should arrive at the airport. But there's usually a queue.
Sure. All right, so I am going to just tell McPherson, just go, get in front of this bastard.
All right. Well, it's a one-way street at the moment. The narrow one-way street. And then, so at this point, as you approach the airport, it opens up into a wider road. And it joins a highway that goes to the airport.
All right.
So it's a wider road. There are other vehicles on the road. And all right. So make a driving throw for him to try to get in front.
All right. Get another cock on the stand there. All right. I got a 6.
Okay. So it's not a very good driving throw. So in the first round, he doesn't get in front of the vehicle. It's like,
all right.
There's other vehicles on the road. He gets in the way. There's somebody's truck that's got the tassels and some Arabic music playing.
A tuk-tuk, I think is the term. A tuk-tuk.
No, it's a minibus. It's a minibus.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all right. So full vehicle. Gotcha.
These curious people look out the window. This running gun. All right. Okay, next round. Another throw. He needs 10 plus basically to get in front of you.
Oh, Lord! I'm glad I didn't ask him to pit. That'd probably be a 12. Got a 5. Nope. We're either going to stop them
Okay,
now
no, right.
or international incident time.
All right, and in the next round, he has another go.
10. Got it.
All right, yeah. So there was an oncoming truck, and he swerves out of the way, and then neatly in front of it. Okay, you look back at the vehicle, and you see a Russian driver, and then you see Igor, who's looking rather disgruntled, and they're covered in broken glass, and they've got lots of little cuts on their faces and stuff.
Oh, they're about
from,
to be
explosion.
they're about to be covered with a lot more than that. My last flashbang, my last flashbang grenade.
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna pull the balaclava down and smile.
You've probably got a better chance of getting them with a rifle if you want. You want flashbang to knock them out. What are you after?
Well, if I shoot them and they lose control and die, it's effectively the same as if they're stunned, lose control, and die.
Yeah. Except the shooting itself might kill them, and then there's the rolling the vehicle. The vehicle will probably have a roll page. And
flashbang.
Okay.
I've already done the cool thing,
Okay.
Ping.
Shot.
11.
Oh!
God, these dice
So
are
it goes-
with me tonight.
It goes neatly between the two guys. Boom! So roll for damage. It's 2 confined space, so it's so there'll be 2 concussive effects. So a roll for 1 against the driver, that's most important. 1d6.
D6, right?
Hmm.
A 1.
Oh, okay. So he's immediately knocked out. And then a second roll for the driver as well.
A 6.
A 6, okay. The second one doesn't do anything. So boom, he slumps across the wheel. Okay, and now against Igor. So this time it's a 2d6.
A 2.
Sorry, d6.
A 2,
Yeah, 2 and
a 6.
Okay, so that won't do anything. And then the second one?
A 4 and a 2.
4 and a 2. Yeah, so that it just a little bit of hot fragments of the flashbang go onto his arm, do a minor wound. He looks rather alarmed, and you see him obviously reaching across to the driver's side to try to control the vehicle. Okay, the next round. So you're going along. There's this crowded highway with this going on. So some of the vehicles that are behind you, they slow down to allow the competence to go ahead of them. They don't want to be involved.
For our younger
There's
listeners,
ones ahead of you.
I was just going to say, for our younger listeners or viewers who are just getting your licenses, just FYI, I think this is international, Kyle, you can correct me. Running gun battles generally have the right of way.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, the guys ahead of you aren't necessarily aware of what's happening, so McPherson has occasionally bumped up against the bumper of that minibus with the tassels and the aerodynamic. He's bumped up, and the driver's looking at his rear vision mirror and shouting back in Frankenstein. And there's this kid looking through the window. And all right, so and then there's a traffic on the other side of the road, which is going zoom, right. It's just zooming along. And McPherson's trying not to run in front of it. Okay. So next round, initiative.
Oh, a 1.
1d6. 1. Okay. So Igor gets initiative. He is very busy. He's not doing any firing. He is very busy trying to control the vehicle. He manages to control it enough to keep it going in a straight line, but not to because he can't reach the accelerator or anything like that. It's going in a straight line, and it's starting to slow down. as well. It's saying slow down because the driver had his foot on the accelerator, but the driver is now unconscious.
Okay. I'll yell at McPherson. The driver's out. Let's slow him down.
Yeah.
So basically, you're going to slow down so they touch our bumper, and just gradually start slowing them down.
Okay. All right. So McPherson, do a driving throw for McPherson there.
Now 1 and a 1, is that bad? No, I'm just kidding. I got a 6. I got a 6.
Okay, so all right, so that's you don't slow them down, but you don't crash.
No.
Silly like that.
What? Hang on. I got all these damn windows.
Poor Eagle. Okay, so Eagle tries to do a sudden swerve to get off the road, out of the way, and as he does a sudden swerve, it just stops. The engine stops. All the fire and the explosions must have done something, or the wiring or something. You don't know, but the engine stops. There's no more engine noise, and the vehicle swerves to one side and then rolls to a halt. The vehicles behind it were slowed down. Luckily for them, they were slowed down. The others keep on going ahead like that, and of course the traffic that was coming on keeps going past you, whatever. So you've got a bit of space behind you, those vehicles that they're keeping out of the way of the gun battle, and you've got a bit of space ahead of you as the vehicles ahead clear. Like that. Igor has just stopped.
I'll yell over the traffic noise. Mine still works, Igor. You need a ride?
All right. So Igor's not stupid. So and he's not an insane commander or something. He's GRU. So Igor just puts up his hands.
All right.
Like that. So you have him basically, yeah. So he's not going to pull any tricks or have a live grenade up his bum or anything like that. He's just he puts his hand up, and you go up to the vehicle while McPherson covers, and you open the door and you zip tie him up and take it.
Yep.
Yeah, he's yours.
And I've got to say the remark as we drag him out. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to show us your license and registration, please. On second thought, don't bother. Zip tie him, hands and feet, into the back of the Land Rover, back to our rally point at the safe house. Yeah.
So the other crew took a little bit of while to extract themselves from that street because they were under fire, but they did successfully do so without any further injuries, etc.
All right.
And you get back to the safe house, and that's the session.
Good times, folks. If you liked that, you gotta check out Conflict. It is an absolute monster of a cool little game, little tactical role-playing game there. Let's see.
So if Paul is still watching or comes back and finishes watching later, I hope that demonstrates you don't have to have a whole stack of rules. I wasn't consulting a lot of charts. I was just judging things and that.
Yeah, and I mean, I looked at my character sheet twice, because I made the joke about putting English on the grenade. Like a cue ball. That was. He's like, "Do you have experience with grenades?" And I was like, "Well, I got a proficiency in English. Can I put English on it?" But yeah, that is that's the ongoing Conflict, and I dig this game so much. Kyle, have you got a hot link you can throw up here, Kyle, or do I need to find one real quick? I should stick that. Let me see.
Well, you can probably stick it in the description.
Yeah, let me see here.
So there's the PDF and the print version. So if I put the link in the chat, it tends to...
Well, stick
remove
it.
links.
Yeah,
So
stick it to me over
I'll,
in the stick it in the old Discord chat, and yeah, there we
yeah,
go. There we go. Okay, I will copy and paste that so our friends on Facebook and our friends on YouTube can see that. Yeah. Yeah, because I have you as an admin, like you can do links now, Kyle, so you can see that.
okay, cool.
So so yeah, that's yet another taste of conflict, and I dig that RPG a lot. It is loads of fun. I have nothing bad to say about conflict. I think conflict is a great little RPG. And I'm going to work to see if I can get a few copies on the shelf down here at game stores in Florida because I think it's that good. I think I think if you're looking for a squad level, like you want to simulate like, you know, squad ambush, but with role play elements. It's not just a war game. If you're thinking just based on what Kyle and I did tonight and so on that it's a war game, it's not. We had the previous session was almost entirely role play. Because we went to Igor in prison and did the whole, you know, brought him water, tried to nicely get some answers out of him, and so on.
Yeah, and then there was a standoff with the Marines where nobody decided to fire. So
right. We played it cool, and nothing terrible happened. So dog didn't accidentally fart so loud it caused a firefight like they tend to in movies. So
well, I think too, even without a lot of dice rolling, you can generate a bit of tension amongst the players. Like, shit, what's going to happen next? Like to the standoff with the Marines, and there was a bit of tension, and also being there amidst all the smoke and the fire and that. Usually, when I game, I like to have a little bit of sound effects and music, and that tends to help things. But obviously, we can't always do that on YouTube. It's the only thing I'd say is it's true of all role-playing games. If you've got a more tactical thing or a dungeon map or whatever, that could be a little bit more difficult to do online, and that's why some people have Roll20 or screen sharing and that sort of thing. Just to be aware of all the positioning. So things like I was a bit worried at things like the vehicles going into each other, like that might be a bit confusing, and you weren't 100% on what was happening. But
yeah, there were just a couple of times when it was like, in my mind's eye, I guess I kind of pictured a more open street, but no, this was really this was your classic mud buildings that go back to like the 14th century level spaces.
So in person it's very easy for the game master to just draw a little map on the spot with pencil. If you're doing it online, it can be good to prepare a bit of stuff ahead of time. Because you can always the internet's wonderful. You can always find images of stuff, and you say, okay, this is the street, like we did with the bank robbery.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. And if you're playing something like Conflict, Google Maps and Google Street View can be just an amazing put your players there resource. Like I'm all about Dwarven Forge and miniatures and fantasy, because with the exception of a handful of Google Street Views and pictures, I can't really show castle roads and medieval villages to my players online. So I throw down Dwarven Forge and I throw down minis and I point the camera at the table. But with a modern game of Conflict, or a modern game of combat like Conflict, Google Maps, anything you need, downtown New York, someplace in the Middle East, Bangkok, countryside outside Moscow.
Yeah,
you got to cover.
And you can use the terrain too, in the sense that when you have the street view or just a tourist photo of that, there'll be vehicles and street vendors and things like that hanging around, and so I'll hide behind the red Corolla over there and that sort of thing. So you can incorporate that into your games as well to just add a little bit. I wrote a blog article about that, just talking about the environment is often not really well used in games. People will sometimes look at a combat system and they're just looking at the charts. They're trying to figure out probabilities and that. But I hope you can see from this playthrough just it is actually an illustration of the stuff that Bill's been trying to teach you guys about D&D, that it can be more than just the numbers in that regard, thinking about cover and hiding and gathering intel and making plans and all the rest, rather than just putting it up. Okay, if you've got a level 3 fighter versus a level 2 fighter, and if we do a Monte Carlo simulation of 100 battles of them, blah, 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 it can be a bit more than that. And that way, a character who isn't really awesome can still do awesome things, and a character who is awesome gets to fuck up and drop a grenade at their own feet or something.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I had the magic dice. These green D6s are nuts. They're probably biased. I should probably not use them, but, you know. But, hey, I just rolled a 4 with them, you know. I mean, at any point earlier tonight, I could have done that, you know.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Kyle. I always love playing Conflict, and we always love having you on the show. So, speaking of having people on the show, tomorrow we are back to 12:30, and Gabor Lux will be here. Gabor has created a ton of stuff that playable with classic Dungeons and Dragons and OD&D, AD&D, Hyboria, just all the cool stuff. He's big into that scene. If you like fantasy tabletop, you're gonna want to be here. We'll talk to Gabor. Friday, back to school. You got to get your textbooks out. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Friday we're gonna talk about druids. We're gonna do druid best practices for creating druids and some awesome spell choices you can take as a first level druid. And for those of you who are like itching to get into the Dungeon Master's Guide, it's coming. The Dungeon Master's Guide classes are coming. And then that's probably going to consume a whole lot of broadcast space, because the Dungeon Master's Guide is not a book that you finish. The book itself is a sandbox, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
It's Talmud. That's what it is.
It is.
Talmud. So in Judaism, there's Torah. So the what Christians call the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And then there's Talmud, which is various. There's saying 2 Jews, 3 opinions. You're ready to argue everything. There used to be Jewish courts to rule. Well, what about in this case? The light switches count as making fire on them, Sabbath and all that sort of stuff. And they have Talmud is a collection of all the Jewish court decisions over the years, and then people's commentary on it, and then people's commentary on commentary. It's basically about 500 years of actually. So I find the Dungeon Master's Guide a bit Talmudic. It's as if like 6 different guys wrote it, and so there's always something to delve into. You could study it for years.
Yes, and in the best possible way. Possible way. It is a book you can pick up. I mean, I know people who said I wouldn't touch Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition with a 10-foot pole. The First Edition AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide is the most valuable RPG book you can have. In the same sentence, just like that. So, we will get there. We still have much to discuss with best practices for characters, but we'll get there. And Kyle, you will be next Wednesday, yes?
Yes.
Wednesday? Awesome. Well, our Wednesday, your
assuming nobody in the state sneezes, and then we'll get locked in the home again.
Don't even say that. All right, guys, it has been an absolute blast this evening. Thank you, everyone who hung around and watched us play Conflict. Go buy a copy of Conflict. Go get it right now. Go get it. It's awesome. And support Kyle. I want to thank everybody. We are now at 741 subs on the channel. Guys, we are this close. If this represents 259, we are this close to the virtual online gaming convention. So keep telling your friends to click like and subscribe. If you're watching this, if you just stumbled by because of the algorithm, then please subscribe and click that bell icon. Give us a thumbs up. Comment down in the comment stream below there. Write your thoughts. I try to respond to everybody, but I'm actually getting a volume of posts on things that I've written. So it might take me a little while, but I will get to you. Or Kyle will get to you. We'll both get to you. In the good way. In the good way. No, we'll get to you. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful evening. Kyle, thank you so much as always and again. And
Thank you.
We'll see you next time, my friends. Take care of yourselves. Peace.